Hi, Pastor Charlie here for New Hope Lutheran Church with another edition of Pastor Charlie's Toolbox. So today I was thinking maybe we'd start by playing a little game called Name This Tool. And I'm going to start with this one here. Hope you can see it. Any ideas what this might be? Well, you probably figured it looks like a drill bit, and it's true, it does. It has a shank here, the part that goes into your drill. That looks about right, but the flutes look odd. They're different, and the lip, the part that cuts, it's really odd. It's all out of whack compared to what we're used to seeing in a drill bit. And that's partly because the lip here is made of carbide. So this is a clue here. Can you guess what this might be used for? Carbide is a very hard substance. Take a few seconds. What this is a type of drill bit that's used for drilling holes in concrete. And so, to go with it, you need a special drill, like this one. It's kind of an ordinary looking drill, heavy duty maybe, and it has a special feature on it though. It's called a hammer drill, which means as it's drilling, it's also pounding away. So I've got a piece of concrete brick here, and what you'll notice about a hammer drill, it has a very unique sound. So that, the first one, was a carbide bit. The next thing I want you to guess at is this item here. Do you know what it is? Do you know what it's used for? Well, it's called a brick chisel. And what you do is you pound on it and you keep going at the same place over and over again until your brick breaks right where you've chiseled it. Usually you go all around the whole sides and get it started, and then it just comes apart. And it also has this nifty handy feature here, so you don't crack your knuckles by accident. Bit of a guard. Somebody was thinking on this one. Right now, I'm kind of wondering how well you did with guessing what these tools were about. Did you have any idea of what they would be used for on your own? Maybe you already knew, though. How then did you know the answer? Well, it could be you've seen these tools at work before, or maybe you've even used them, or maybe somebody once upon a time explained them to you and told you what they were for. Or maybe for a few people, you may have looked at them, not had any idea, but you took a guess, and maybe you knew enough about things like this to make an educated guess on what these are for. And something else you may have noticed is that the tools I've brought out today all have something to do with rock-hard substances. Rock hard. And that brings me to our lesson for today from Matthew 16 here. In that lesson, Jesus asked his disciples a couple of questions. Questions about who people think he is and who they, his disciples, think he might be. And you know, questions can be difficult, especially when we're trying to impress someone with our answers. So when Jesus asks his first question about who do people say who I am, the disciples came back with pretty grand answers like, oh, they say you're Elijah or Jeremiah or one of the prophets, you know, someone who's famous and looked up to. They didn't bother to tell them some of the other names they might have heard from people who didn't like Jesus. But because they'd heard this information from somewhere else, the answers for them were pretty easy. But it's not so easy to answer questions when no one has told you the answer yet. And Jesus' second question to them isn't as easy. Well, who do you think that I am? What's your answer? It's a bit like me asking you to identify one of these tools when you've never seen or heard of it before. In those times, well, we really have to think about what might the answer be. We have to maybe compare it to something we've experienced before and work our way along a path of reasoning that finally leads us to some kind of answer, whether it's a right answer or a wrong answer. And if we don't have the right answer, we may want to look into it a bit more and do some research on it, or just contemplate it for a while. You know, questions can be hard, especially when we don't have an answer for them. But a lot of people seem to think that Christians, and especially pastors, have all the answers to everything. So we get asked a lot of questions, especially about faith, by people who are going through difficult times. They ask questions like, why is there suffering? Why did a certain bad thing have to happen to me? Or, how can God possibly love me? And I'll be honest with you in saying that none of us have all the answers, but kind of like the tools quiz, we might be able to help you find your own answers, to help you find some clues, to steer you in a direction you may need to go to find out what you need to know. The important thing is to never give up looking for answers to the questions of faith you may have. And don't just accept the simplistic answer. This is not just a drill bit. There's more to it than that. Don't accept the simplistic answer because it may not work for you in every aspect of your faith. Keep looking. Keep searching. Keep asking until you have the answers you need to have. In our lesson, the disciple Peter answered Jesus' question about who he thought Jesus was. He said, well, you're the Messiah. You're the Son of the living God. You're the Son of God. Well, that sounds like a pretty simple answer, but think about it. What would it mean to their lives if Jesus was what Peter was saying he was? How are you ever going to go back to being an ordinary person when you've been in a close personal relationship with God for a couple of years? I mean, it changes everything. And because of this, Jesus gave Peter a nickname. He called him the Rock. That's pretty impressive considering the prophet Isaiah once called Abraham the Rock, the one you turn to at all points in life, but especially when life gets rough. And you know you can count on your rock. Do you have a rock in life? You know, whenever we seriously go looking for answers to faith in life, we learn new things. Our faith grows. Our understanding of God grows. And even if we don't have all the answers, at least we have some of the answers. Sometimes even answers to questions we weren't even asking. And the more we understand, the more we increase our ability to answer somebody else's questions. So in some ways, we can become a rock for other people. We can help them. We can guide them. We can be somebody who can be leaned upon for guidance. And that can happen even when we don't have all the answers ourselves.